Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to show you how to flare the pant leg. Okay, so I already have my slopers traced off. This is the back and this is the front. And let's go ahead and start with the back. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add about 1 inch of length to my pant. Now this isn't, you don't have to do this necessarily if you already like the length, but it can be a nice thing to do. Alright, so I'm measuring down 1 inch and I'm just going to square out in both directions. Okay, now I need to decide how much flare I want to give my pant leg. Okay, so this is the bottom here, this is my new hem. How far out do I want to go in each direction? So I'm going to go out a certain amount toward away from my side seam and away from my inseam. I'm going to do 3 inches. Okay, so I'm actually going to have to flare this out a little bit more. Okay, and I'm basing that 3 inches off my original side seam and inseam. Okay, so I'm going to measure 3 inches off of my original side seam and inseam, but on that new hem, measure out 3 inches there. And measure out 3 inches here. Now, you can give it less flare or more flare. That's up to you. This is just one example. Okay? So I've measured out 3 and 3. Now what I want to do is decide where is my flare coming from. Okay? It can come from anywhere. It could come from the crotch. It could come from the hip line up here. It could come from my knee, come from above my knee. The one thing you want to remember is you want the flare to come from the same place, okay, on both pant legs. In this case, we're going to do the knee, all right? So here's my knee line right here. So I'm going to connect my knee to that 3 inch mark at the hem. Like so. And then the same thing on the inseam. So that was my side seam. We're going to do the same thing on the inseam. Connect to where your knee and inseam intersect and bring that right down to that 3 inch mark. Okay, like so. Now here's my crease line. I'm just going to make sure that comes all the way down to the hem. And I want to make sure that when my front pant leg and back pant leg sew together at the side seam and at the inseam, that we don't end up with points in these two places. All right, meaning that the length from the knee to the hem at my side seam and inseam need to be the same length from the knee to the hem right where my crease line is. So I'm going to make sure that that's the case. So the first thing I'm going to do is measure the distance right on my crease line, okay, from the knee to the hem. And I have, it looks like 16¼ inches, okay. So I'm going to come back here and I'm going to measure down from my knee 16¼ inches. So there's 16¼ right there, okay. So it's a very, very slight difference. There's about almost 1/8 of difference. I'm just going to mark that. Okay, you can see the red line, how it's just above the original hem. Let's do the same thing here, 16¼ and it's about the same, it's about 1/8. Okay, and then I'll just square where I marked that. I'll square off my new inseam right into the new hem. Same thing here. Square off that new side seam right into it. And then it's ever so slight, but I'll just make sure it blends nicely with my curve. It's so small I really don't even need to do it, but it's good practice. Okay, so I've now added flare to my front pant, or my back pant leg. Let's do the same thing on the back, or on the front. Okay, again, we want to make sure these stay balanced. So first thing I'm going to do is add 1 inch of length to the pant. Then I'm going to measure out from the original side seam and inseam 3 inches on that new line and mark it. So right there. Right there. My flare on my back pant leg started at my knee, so the same thing will happen on the front, both on the inseam and on the side seam. There we are. And then we want to make sure we check the distance from the knee to the hem on the crease line, 16 1/4. Make sure we have that same distance, both at side seam and at inseam. That way our pant doesn't end up hanging lower at our side seam or inseam. Okay, and then just blend that right in. Okay. So now we've successfully added flare to our front and back pant legs. Now you can go ahead and stylize the rest of your pant and true it. Okay, I'm not going to stylize anymore. I'm just going to true it so you can see what it looks like. Alright, so there it is. They've been trued, and we've added flare to the front and back pant leg. And now you have a pair of flared pants. Alright everyone, good luck with that.